Summer's here, so we're taking care of business at Chapins INFERNO, a wandering cauldron of politically incorrect commentary. You know, a couple months back, Oprah had an article appear at her website that was called Why Women Are Leaving Men for Other Women. But it wasn't really an article as much as it was an unpaid advertisement for lesbianism. You know, 5 or 10 years ago, this kind of heavy-handed indoctrination would have really upset me. That it doesn't now, luckily, is a major reason why I'm able to make so many of these infernos. Yet Oprah's central mission is to conceal the truth, talk women up, and also to make the general population believe that women, in contrast to all available data on human excellence, that women are the nobility of our species, and that men are but peasants tied to the land. Mary A. Fischer's article is about as subtle as a daylight bank robbery, but does fail to answer some basic questions about lesbian relationships. First of all, who listens to the other one talk? Second, who listens to the other one complain? And third, who mooches off of whom? Like George Costanza, I've never really understood the intricacies of this deal. In fact, I don't really care about any of it, but Oprah does, and that's why we're making this video. Before I tackle it, let me reiterate for any haters out there that I would be the last one to ever argue that lesbians and radical feminists are often the same entity, because they aren't. So now that we've taken care of that, I also want to say that I've been a major supporter. You don't have to question my intentions here, because I've been a major supporter over the years of all the lesbian and radical feminist charitable organizations, such as Pigs Without Wigs, ObeseMaleImpersonators.com, Free Floating Femirage, This Carpet's Not for Vacuuming, and my favorite, Obey! So you don't have to question where I'm coming from, and you know that this is a labor of love. The authoress begins by making that supremely persuasive case made by idiots everywhere that everybody's doing it, and so should you. She cites geniuses Cynthia Nixon and Lindsay Lohan, who traveled butchside, and tells the story of Macarena Gomez-Barris, an academic, of course, at USC, who ditched her husband because he turned out to be a low-status male. Says the husband, I was obsolete. I'm nothing that the system considers to be a traditional man. I'm not ambitious. I don't care about money, which means that you're done with women, it seems, should they meet some butchy troglodyte along the way. Indeed, what's stunning about this entire article, unwittingly, is that it's an ode to evolutionary psychology, because all of these women are motivated by a lust for status, wealth, and confidence. And lesbians, the lesbians that they get, end up impersonating all of these qualities as a means to seduce their prey objects. Macarena whatever says of the men she dated and discarded, they were not so sure of themselves and their careers or financially, which undoubtedly is the truth about many men in 2009. At a party one night, Gomez Cabana ran into Judith Epstein Shish Kebab Myers. Okay, it was just Halberstam, actually. Her name was Halberstam. A professor of English, American Studies, Ethnicity, and Gender Studies, the superfecta, if you will, at USC. They met in 2004 and occasionally found themselves at the same campus parties. But while they shared an affinity for politics and social justice being code language for let's steal from the productive people, they were seemingly miles apart in their lives. Halberstam Lewinsky, nearly 10 years her senior, was openly gay and looked the part. Now you should check out the picture of her in this link. She's got a haircut that looks like mine, stands about 5'0", and doesn't look like she could do 2 push-ups for $100. Butch wanted her and gave out a traditional male vibe as a means to get her. You know that vibe that femifascists conveniently teach young males that they're not supposed to give off? Says Tostito Barris, she got up and gave me the better seat as if she wanted to take care of me. I was struck by that. Well, you know, that's kind of the point, isn't it, Dumbo? To give off the vibe that you're being taken care of. That's why, on aggregate, no, not every woman, but on aggregate, women vote for socialism whenever they get the chance, because they think they're being taken care of from cradle to grave, which they're not. But anyway, a few weeks later, Halberstam suggested that they go out to dinner, and Gomez-Barris was impressed. She chose a Japanese restaurant, made reservations, picked me up on time. I felt attracted to her energy. I was enticed, and, now listen to this, she paid for the bill. Just the gesture was sexy. Oh, I bet, yeah, paying for the bill is sexy. Oh, anyway, she took the initiative and is the most take-charge person that I've ever met. Now, let me stop here for 1 second. This is so effing incriminating. Do you see what the lesbian does here in this story? She impersonates a traditional male. You know, the kind of man who we consider sexist today. For any young guys who are watching this, as me and my fellow fossils already know this to be true, you must never ever allow femifascists or women to convince you as to how you should act. Because, I shouldn't say that, femifascists really, because they lie to you as a means of cornering the carpet market. Back to the propaganda. Intrigued as Chuck Barris was, it still never occurred to her that they could be anything more than friends. I was still inscribed in a heterosexual framework that said that only a man could provide for my kids and my family. Now she's learned that she can be a burden on anyone. On a warm spring night in Malibu, their feelings deepened, and they became lovers. It was great, and it felt comfortable. What blew me away afterwards was Judith held me to her chest, so I got passion, intimacy, and sweetness, and I thought, maybe I can get all of the things that I want now, including somebody to pay for the mortgage and batteries for their gadgetry. Well, I added that last part in, actually. But this beast is not beaten. In fact, we've barely just begun. And we're going to deoprify Lesbian Mania in the next 2 installments of Chapins Inferno as well. So come back for more intellectual spelunking in our next installment.